Well, I finished Fear Street 1994 about 15 minutes ago on Netflix and figured while it was still fresh on my mind, I'd jump on here and do a quick review for it. Even though I'm sure at this point everybody and their mom has already watched it and probably everybody and their father has already reviewed it, I still figure I'm going to give my 2 cents on it. And out the gate, I'll say that I'm a little bit mixed on it. I know this is the first part of a trilogy and that the other one comes out Friday, and then I think the next week's when part three comes out. This one definitely leans towards the slasher genre, which I'm perfectly fine with. As a matter of fact, I would prefer that. But there is paranormal elements to it, as basically we have some teenagers who have some stuff going on, and before they know it, they're stuck in the middle of a basically just a slasher situation with some paranormal twist to it. We deal with some slasher characters running around trying to kill people, and we have a witch that it's all centered around as well, which I don't want to dive too much into the plot. You can look up the plot, the synopsis if you want to. Basically, I just want to come talk about how I felt the movie was. And from a blood standpoint, it's good. Like, there's some really good gore in this movie, and I think that's probably one of the strong points of it. Not want to give anything away, but one scene of this movie tells me that somebody's been watching Intruder, and it's about time that somebody does some homages to Intruder, which I think is like a very underrated slasher flick. The biggest fault I think this thing would have is it's called Fear Street, but it doesn't have anything to do with any R.L. Stine Fear Street books, the best I can tell. And I own a hunk of them. Like, I've got a wall full of R.L. Stine stuff over here, and Fear Street books is something I have quite a few of. And outside of, like, Halloween Night Part 2, which the cover has the skeleton with the cloak on it, which is, like, basically one of our main slasher characters in this movie. Nothing else seems to really ring a bell from Fear Street books that I've read. Although they will make an appearance at the start of the movie in a scene that takes place at a mall with a bookstore, and you see a lot of Fear Street books there on the shelf. So it's R.L. Stine's Fear Street in name only, with maybe a few images here and there. Those are taken from the book, but as far as tributes to it go or whatever, I feel like you'll find more other slasher tributes there than you will that. And Scream is definitely an influence to this. The opening scene's pretty well right out of Scream's playbook, which I'm fine with because I love Scream. I think Scream's one of the better slasher movies out there, and a lot of people sometimes seem to give it a bit of a hard time for some reason now, but I still think Scream is great, especially the first one and the fourth one. I really like the fourth one. So the opening scene's great. I like the color scheme of this movie. Like, there's like neon colors, and there's like a little bit of a giallo type feel to it with color scheme only at times, but I like that. I think one of the bigger negatives though is I don't think the characters are that likable. And basically, when they start to get likable, it's too late. So you got a whole movie where you're dealing with a bunch of kids that just don't seem to really do much to make you care much for them. One of them sells pills. One of them's an idiot. One of them is okay. One of them is the female lead. She's all right, but her main plot is that she's dealing with like a love interest of another female, and things are going bad. And of course, plot wise, things are going real bad for the love interest. But again, I don't want to give this thing away too much. I want you to watch it without having too much given away, because I feel that's the best way to watch these things without having a lot of the plot spoiled for you in these reviews. I will say this: while it doesn't really matter, the lead seems to have a very raspy voice. I'm not making fun of her now. Don't get mad at me for saying that. But I don't know if she's like hamming that up or if that's natural. But like when she talks, she'll talk like this during very tense scenes. And I don't know if that's just how it is or if that's just her hamming it up. But character-wise, I'm not very impressed with the movie. Gore-wise, I love that part of it. It looks cool. It's very cosmetically pleasing from a look standpoint. The plot's a little silly. I'm not going to go ahead and crap all the way on that because obviously there's two more movies, and this thing does set up to the next one, although the next one will technically be a prequel taking place in like 1977 or 78 or something like that. So maybe I'll watch that, and as we progress into this trilogy here, we'll have more of a reaction when it comes to the plot overall. But as it stands right now, it's worth a watch. I don't think it's reinventing the wheel here, but it does, give you a solid slasher with some paranormal parts to it, and it is very watchable. And for that, Fear Street 1994 for me gets a 3 out of 5, which puts it in solid ground. Not great, but solid. And we'll see where we stand for everything when the other two are done. But this is on Netflix right now. Don't go looking really for any R.L. Stine stuff, because this is like this heavy R. This isn't really R.L. Stine stuff, but it does have the name, and it does have the cool looking skeleton cloak image from Halloween Night Part 2, that book, if you've read it. So, what do you guys think? Feel free to let me know below. And I hope, like I said, I hope nobody really gets mad at me for mentioning the lead actress's voice. She's attractive lady, but the voice does seem a little sketchy.